Hey everybody, it's Mike here from the WeWrench shop, and welcome to episode 13. We're at a pretty cool point in the project right now. In this video, you're going to watch me continue disassembly of the rear subframe. We're going to pull a differential out of there, and we are also going to separate the transmission from the engine and pull it off the front subframe. It's going to be awesome. Stay tuned. For this next part, I didn't actually record any audio in the shop. I think that I was just really focused on trying to get this rear subframe back up on the jack stands and supported. Kind of didn't know what I was doing, so that's probably why I wasn't talking about it. Kind of just improvising here, getting the floor jack underneath it, shifting it to get it back on the jack stand. So enjoy what you see. So once again, we run into the same scenario. I was just doing a lot of improvisation and I did not record any audio. So in this segment that you're going to see, what I was doing was trying to get the chain attached to the differential properly. Now, I'd never done this before. It took a few tries to kind of figure out how to do this the best to get the differential to be balanced, because the differential is definitely heavier more towards the rear because that's where the ring and pinion are the heaviest. So I had to bolt the chain to the back mount there using the stock bolt, and then I also had to strap the chain to the one side of the differential, second mounting bolt. I had to play around with it a little bit. I had to use a chain eyelet with the factory bolt and then kind of bolt it in again. But the whole key here was just safety and getting this differential out of here in sort of a balanced fashion. And there's just a lot of cool footage of the rear subframe that I'm going to show you, just kind of a walk around so you can get to know it and see what this all looks like outside of the car. Here's where we're at with the powertrain. The rear end is totally sorted and disassembled. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But I just want to get a shot of this glorious power plant here. S38B36, 310 horsepower inline six. So the next task is going to be to separate the transmission from the engine. I have a jack stand under the back of the trans, so it is semi-supported. I'm going to pull the bell housing bolts out, maybe stick another jack stand under there to be sure. And I have my cherry picker just supporting the back of the engine in this eyelet here. You notice I had to undo the coolant line for the cylinder head there. I just have it supported with a chain on the cherry picker. The front of the engine is supported because the mounts are on the subframe, like here. The only thing supporting the engine is the transmission, which has a jack stand underneath it. So if I take that trans out, this engine is going to fall, and we don't want that. So this is what the setup looks like. We're ready to go. Now the bell housing bolts are inverted Torx, E12 and E10. That's what they look like right there. There's a combination of them. That's a bigger E12, and that looks like a smaller E10. So let's get at it. All right, so I positioned a second jack stand under the bell housing here, so the transmission has support. There's one last bolt that has to come out, and then I should be able to just pop the transmission back. And remember, folks, always bag and tag. Okay, so here's where we are at right now. We have the engine sitting here all on its own. The transmission is off of it. And the one thing I'm going to go over is how I have this set up to be lifted off the subframe. What we're going to do next is just separate the engine block from that suspension assembly. I want to get it on the stand. I want to get it ready to work on. So I have my cherry picker in the back and I have a chain spanning the engine. Now, when I took this engine out in 2005, I made a couple mistakes. The first mistake that I made was I straddled the chain all the way down to this eyelet on the bell housing here. And what I did was I ended up bending the fuel rail and breaking this vacuum check valve right here because of the angle of the chain. So what I'm seeking to do now is just kind of extend this so I can have that chain with a nice clear span and it won't be at an angle to bend things and break things. So I just used a piece of 1/4 inch angle that I had in the shop. I drilled out a couple holes. In the front here, I have 2 eyelets also to give me that height so that chain does not hit the fuel rail or anything else. I took out the throttle position sensor because it was kind of in danger, and so was the harness. So basically what I want is I want everything to be all clear of that chain so I can lift this thing up safely. Now the only thing really left to do is to undo the 17mm nuts in each engine mount. And we should be able to lift this. All right, let's give it another whirl. All right, I gave it a little assistance. Just a pry bar, small pry bar in between the mount and the platform. That's where it's sticking. I'm gonna let some tension off of it. I think I'm loose. Ooh. Now, since the engine is free of the subframe, what I want to do is I want to pull it back. I want to give you a close-up of this beauty. I'm really grateful for all the support that I've received so far. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media channels, Facebook at WeWrench Official, Instagram at WeWrench Official, and TikTok at WeWrench. So you can see the amazing progress on this project. My dream car, BMW E34 M5, complete rebuild and restoration.